This is Excalibur Heavy Battlecruiser, and today we're going to show you how to beat Glaucus in Nova Drift. Alright, now that we're in debug mode, we can just get to the build. Alright, 36 upgrades, which is probably attainable for most people in by the time they reach wave 100. So the thing about Glaucus is, he is very susceptible to blast damage, or AoE attacks. So if you take something like Split Shot Barrage or Pulse, he really doesn't hold up that well. And instead he dies rather unceremoniously fast. Instead, we're now going to do a build that doesn't have much in the name of AoE attacks or direct DPS as well. And that'd be Torrent Viper, and we don't rely on the crash damage as well. And we also don't rely on Amp to boost up my weapon damage. We'll still be taking Barrage just to make it somewhat competitive and viable. We now have a pretty memey build that isn't too OP. Let's go. Since we don't have much range, we need to be careful in timing our attacks. Because Glaucus creates a gigantic vortex that sucks you in. Not only that, the vortex deals immense damage. This is Reflect Shield, by the way, so it getting drained apart that fast is testament to how damaging this vortex is. It's also testament to how damaging the flame attack is. It lingers and can deal a lot of damage, so steer clear of both. With the vortex, you will need to actively, constantly fight it, because it lasts for quite a long time, and you can even have two of them on screen. These things take some time to dissipate. And although this one's no longer a concern, I now have to worry about this monstrosity. For the Flame Breath attack, obviously screen wrapping is a good solution. However, you can also try to get up close and try to outturn him. The closer the circle of you turning around him, the better. But obviously don't crash you into him. Like, yes, his crash damage isn't too bad, all things considered, but you still don't want to be knocked back or something like that. This is another one of those attacks that's kind of annoying. Let me wait for him to do that again and show you how you can beat that. Oh yeah, now he's just gonna circle around the screen real fast. And this thing can get ridiculously fast at later waves, to the point where you just cannot outrun him. So you really need to like camp the edges of the screen late game, because he's that scary. Alright, now he's doing the bullet phase attack. With this attack, it lasts quite a lot of time, and the bullets do actually have pretty good tracking. So what you want to do is time your screen wraps just right. It'll do it again. Just need to clear apart these asteroids. This is also something you need to do. Alright, now he's gonna do the bullet. Now he's gonna do the bullet barrage. Get ready for the audio cue. Gonna deploy those, and you need to screen wrap it with good timing, because those things readjust to your current location rather quickly. So if you time it too early, you may get to adjust his bullets back onto you. But if you time it too late, they'll hit you, because those bullets accelerate. AKA they have a non-linear velocity. It's gonna do it once more. This is one of those attacks where I think it's better for you to just screen wrap than try to avoid them conventionally. You can technically do it, but you need decent mobility to pull it off. Now, although Glaucus' attacks are pretty dodgeable, the main trouble comes from this boss being rather durable. In fact, this particular build really does not hold up well, because I don't have any AoE. I have to rely on just pure bullet count to deal damage and deal with crowds. Unfortunately, he's pretty resilient to that. At least when you aim against his body segments, it takes a lot of time to kill him. So instead, you want to aim at its head. Easier said than done though, considering he likes to swat you away with his wings and just cover himself up. This has led to Glaucus gaining a notorious reputation for being an annoying boss. And honestly, I actually kind of feel that way as well. Many bosses just have had this reputation of being annoying and scary, and I sometimes find them to be overblown or outright false. For example, I didn't find Crucible to be that scary, even though he also has a reputation for being a notoriously difficult to beat boss. However, with Glaucus, his annoyance of being a bullet sponge is, at least in my opinion, well justified. At least with certain types of builds. I also did some extra testing against Star Eater with Leviathan, and yeah, I do agree that matchup needs some revisions. Because Leviathan does get pretty hard countered by Star Eater. But to be fair, with that research, I've also found out that Leviathan just needs some major changes overall. Because it does have some pretty fundamental problems on its own as well, even against other enemies as well. Right, it's gonna do the flame attack, which means I need to keep my distance. I need to keep my distance. I very much thank the comet. Alright, now I can focus on Glaucus. Let's move away, because he's gonna do the flame breath attack. Once again, thank you for the comment. Now we just lay the waste down on him. If he gets too close, we back off using backwards strafe. But yeah, his reputation of being a bullet sponge of a boss is pretty well justified. Because holy shit, it's taking a while for him to die. So yeah, this was kind of painful in all honesty. Next up, we're going to dial up that pain even more. Because now we're using a build that doesn't even have the luxury of being fast enough to dodge most of its attacks with speed alone. We're instead going to try this, but with battery. Now there is one advantage to using battery. I deal a bit more crash damage and I do have more powerful bullets. And this time we are investing in a little bit of AoE because without it, it's frankly too painful. It also showcases the importance of taking AoE upgrades in Nova Drift, because it works pretty well against segmented enemies like those serpents and Glaucus as well. The jury's still out for Star Eater though, because he's just so big and tanky. There we go. Wrong boss, by the way. There we go. Here we do have a lot of bullets, but we don't have too much mobility, so instead of trying to outrun him, we have to time it well. As soon as the first bullets are about to hit, you should screen wrap. Alright, he's gonna do the telegraph, and you need to move. Another thing I wish Chimeric would change about Glaucus would be the telegraph of his flame breath, because it's a bit too small and pretty easy for newer players to miss. Alright, let's wait for him to pull off the attack again. The bullets are out, and as soon as they're about halfway between reaching you and being deployed, you need to screen wrap. Alright, let's now play the waiting game and keep just enough distance where he doesn't hit you, but also close enough where weapons like this can deal damage to him. Right, let's move. We barely got out of there in time. A less developed version of this build would have been caught and lost its shields even. Technically, if you move carefully enough, you can dodge that as well, but it's not recommended. And as the saying goes, don't just continuously fire. It's okay to stop firing if you want to recover faster. And yes, I do have Essence Sap, but this can also help out people who aren't using that upgrade and are instead using regular regeneration. Right, time to screen wrap. It's also a good idea to clean up these asteroids from time to time because otherwise they may block you from screen wrapping properly. Alright, let's do the last test. The obligatory Leviathan build. We're just gonna go hidden power on this. Now thankfully, because the meta Leviathan build is pretty strong against does have very good survivability and stuff, you shouldn't worry too much about Glaucus destroying you. Especially once you take the adaptive armor tree, rapid reconstruction, hidden power and all that. Right, let's look for hidden power. There it is. And this is pretty much the build done. Like, yes, we can also take Blink, but then, yeah. And this is pretty much our meta Leviathan build. Let's go. And yeah, we've already taken down like 1/5 of its HP. Even its Vortex isn't that scary to us, because we have so much damage resistance from Adaptive Armor Tree. And those bullets mean practically nothing to us. The only concerning attack is the Flame Breath. In fact, we can try this again. And we can even pull off a risky maneuver like this, and just crumble him up really badly. So despite it looking like a Star Eater beatdown again, it's actually quite a lot in Leviathan's favor, because Glaucus doesn't have that insane of a crash damage. You can win the attritional crash damage war with the optimal Leviathan build. Now let's try that for something that's not as optimal. Now we're gonna try a build that a friend of mine likes to use. And obviously it's not very practical, but it is fun. Which is the reason why they play it. You could say it's a homage to the Amaconda in Enter the Gungeon. And you wouldn't be completely off. I do definitely recommend taking up the Blast Radius tree to make the fight less painful, and also the Adaptive Armor tree to give you some much needed damage resistance. With this one, I can no longer go willy-nilly and try to melee him. I have to be a bit more careful with this one. And I guess they reserve 10 points for Leviathan itself. Oh, how could I forget I need Ataraxia? They also notably don't really like to play wild mode. So we exclusively have the non-wild upgrades. There's Strafe. Oh yeah, improved thrusters. Deadly Wake. And then Blink. And this is kind of an idealized version of their build. Right, let's go. Wrong boss. Let's try that again. Seraph, you're not invited. There we go. Now with this, I have to be a bit more careful with my damage, because stuff like that can happen, and it takes a bit more time to recover. Here, I'll just camp the edges of the screen, and only move in when I really need to. Make a quick slash, and move away instead of prolonging contact damage against the enemy. Now notably, I still did take up the entirety of the adaptive armor tree, which is a testament to why you should really take up this armor upgrade tree if you're using Leviathan. Without it, I might have actually died there, or at least be severely injured. So there you have it, a guide on how to beat Glaucus. It's one of the more tedious bosses, I will admit, but once again, with enough perseverance and firepower, he can be taken care of. With that being said, my name is Excalibur Heavy Battlecruiser, and as always, may the Forks be with you all.